What's good? It's your boy 2K here. I'm gonna start this shit off by saying, man, I really commend Lamont Peterson. Excellent heart. He has the fighter's mentality. You know, if you're a subscriber to my channel or you just come to my channel to listen from time to time, you've heard me talk about the fighter's mentality numerous times for the duration of this channel and how long it's been born, right, since its inception. And Lamont Peterson is one of the guys within the sport that is the epitome of what I like to call a fighter having the correct mentality. He will fight anyone at any time. There are people that he won't fight due to, you know, conflict of interest, like Adrian Broner. You know, his head trainer is Barry Hunter, and Barry Hunter is Adrian Broner's assistant trainer. So there's a conflict of interest there. Plus, they're longtime friends. So, you know, he's expressed not wanting to fight Adrian Broner, but it's more so because of the conflict of interest, because he's friends with Errol Spence as well, and he got in the ring with him tonight, right? So he's shown that he is a guy that will fight anyone. He's got some pretty decent wins, you know, against I'd say respectable guys, not necessarily highly touted contenders or, you know, big time prospects or anything like that, but just guys that, you know, could give other guys trouble. You know what I'm saying? He's beaten, you know, Kendall Holt. You know what I'm saying? He beat Victor Emmanuel KO, who's another guy that can give some people some trouble. But I've never rated Lamont Peterson higher than a B-level fighter. And the reasoning is because whenever he did step up into that B+ to elite level competition in his given divisions, he's always come up short, right? You know, in 2009 when he stepped up against Tim Bradley, I knew 100% without a doubt he was going to lose to Tim Bradley. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he made a good account of himself in that fight. You know, there's some things that he realized he couldn't do, kind of similar to this fight. He tried to box Tim Bradley early on. In this fight, he wanted to box Errol Spence, which was the actual game plan that he should have been trying to do. But as I told you before, man, in my prediction video, he's a different fighter. He's no longer that guy that tries to box cats from the outside. Ever since he fought Tim Bradley, which in that same fight, he went from trying to box to trying to bulldoze and get inside of Tim Bradley, and Tim Bradley was just picking him off. You know what I'm saying? Easy 12-round unanimous decision win for him, right? And that's the type of fighter he has become now. And that's exactly what we saw in this fight. He tried to come inside of Errol Spence, you know, in a high guard with absolutely no head movement or any upper body movement. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to try to get inside, you got to move your upper body if you're not moving your head. If you're not moving your upper body, you got to slip the jab to be able to get inside, right? Think Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was a short-ass heavyweight that always tried to get inside of every single fighter he fought, right? Now, a lot of people say Mike Tyson didn't fight nobody, and that's neither here nor there. But the point is, most of the guys that he fought, you know, a lot of them had good jabs. Tony Tucker's, your Trevor Berbicks, your Michael Spinkses, your Mitch Greens, right? They had good jabs. Tony Tubbs. But he would bob and weave to keep them motherfuckers from not placing their jab properly, and that's when he could get inside and do that infamous bend real low and come up with the left hook, right? That's what Lamont Peterson would have needed to do against Errol Spence. He would need to bob and weave, move his head so he could slip that jab and then try to get on the inside and be wary of the uppercut, right? But he just tried to come inside in a high guard, and Spence was just pretty much picking him off. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why he does that is because, like I said in my prediction video, man, that's what he is now. That's who he is. Ever since 2009, against Victor Ortiz, against Amir Khan, in which that actually helped him beat Amir Khan, because in that fight he started off trying to box him, realized he couldn't box him, then he wanted to put Amir Khan on his back foot. That's how he ended up getting a decision there, which was, you know, rightfully his. You know, then Danny Garcia, a fight that I thought he won as well. But again, he started putting Danny Garcia back And that's where he started winning rounds, right? I think he could have also edged out the Victor Ortiz fight. So it had worked for him against those guys. But when you look at him against cats like Felix Diaz, right? He tried it against him, and it didn't bode too well. Now, he got the decision, but Felix Diaz is beating his ass. You know what I'm saying? I had an 8 rounds to 4 for Felix Diaz. He beat the shit out of Lamont Peterson. And he should have known right then and there, okay, when I fight a guy that has a better IQ than some of the guys that I have been fighting, right, that have better boxing ability, that have the ability to fight behind their jab and dictate the pace with their jab, you know, that have the ability to keep the fight in the middle of the ring, maybe I should change things up a little bit. That Felix Diaz fight should have told him that he needs to become more well-rounded than what he is today, right? And he just brought that same style into the ring with Errol Spence. And I told you on the prediction video, man, it wasn't going to bode well for him. I said it was going to be lawn chair season in round 5. And that's exactly what the fuck it should have been. That was the only round that Errol Spence knocked him down in. He gets back up. He actually tries to come back, right? Very tough fighter. But Errol Spence was systematically breaking his ass down. Now, if it wasn't for the motherfucking ref wanting to get on TV, this motherfucker got in between. He got in the exchange on 2 separate occasions while Errol Spence was trying to tee off on this cat. And Lamont Peterson was clearly hurt and ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Fucking dude, what's his name? Harvey Doc. The motherfucker gets in the middle of the exchange the first time when he felt Lamont Peterson's punches were too low. But see, the reason why he made a mistake there is because Errol Spence kept fighting. Nigga, if the guy that's being victimized here continues to fight, get your stupid ass out the motherfucking exchange. You know what I'm saying? But he gets in the exchange, tries to tell Peterson to keep him up. Then he realizes he's too far in the exchange and he's stopping the action, so he backs up. But at that point in time, it's too fucking late. Then he gets back into the exchange and tries to fucking grab Lamont Peterson's gloves I don't know, that shit where, you know, they make sure the fighter's ready. So it was kind of like in his head, he was like, should I go in or should I not? Oh shit, let me go in. And he fucked up the exchange. You know what I'm saying? If he hadn't have done that, there's a possibility fucking Errol Spence could have stopped him. You know what I'm saying? And then you hear the crowd booing because they share the same sentiment that I fucking got. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been lawn chair season, dog, in round 5, just like I called it. But it ended up being in round 7, not exactly lawn chair season. But, you know, Barry Hunter had to stop the fight. And it was getting to the point where it was ridiculous, man. When they were talking about it in the intermission to round 8, I was like, come on, man. They need to go ahead and stop this fight. And y'all know, if y'all listen to my channel, you know, for as long as it's been out, y'all know I'm the type of motherfucker that's like, if he dies, he dies. You know what I'm saying? This is the fight game. You know what I'm saying? If you're in there, you understand, right, that you need to go out on your shield. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big proponent of a motherfucker fighting and giving it his all until he drops and can't get up no more. But in some situations, man, and this being one, it becomes pointless and ridiculous. I mean, Lamont Peterson had absolutely nothing. He was lost from round 1, man. He was lost from round 1. You know, he's coming in on the high guard, running in the shots, no head movement, no upper body movement. Then I believe at the end of round 2, he's like, fuck, that's not working. Let me back up and try to use my jab. But at that point in time, he had already taken so much damage to the body, he didn't really have the stamina to keep that up, right? Or at least, let me say this, I don't think he was too tired, but to be able to move away from a high pressure fighter, a guy that's applying effective aggression, right, behind the jab, to be able to keep moving and to be able to keep your mental faculties in place, right, that takes a toll, especially when you've been taking some body shots at that time. I mean, in round 1 and for the entire round 2, he was allowing Errol Spence to just tee off on him, and majority of them shots was to the body. So he felt, damn, I can't do this either, and came out in the beginning of round 3 and tried to bulldoze him, literally. Motherfucker ran across the ring and literally tried to push Errol Spence up against the ropes and smothered his punches, started holding him. You know what I'm saying? Then he realized that didn't work, so he went back to the plan A, which was to try to walk in and get close to him. Now, at times, you know, Errol Spence, he's a boxer puncher, right? So eventually, he's going to allow you to get a little bit close to him. You know, he's going to jab his way on the inside so he can get at mid-range distance and start working your body. That's what Errol Spence does, right? But he is smart enough that if he feels that you are able to capitalize on him being too close, he will take a step back and attempt to counter you, right? And that's essentially what happened. You know, he was allowing Lamont Peterson to get a little bit close, and Peterson had the straight right hand ready, and it was landing at will. You know what I'm saying? I think it was round 3 that he landed that shot at will. He landed the shot maybe about 5 or 6 times. But see, here's the problem. Lamont Peterson didn't have the wherewithal to be able to slip the jab and to come over the top with the straight right hand. He could have done that if he had head movement. See, and that's why that shit is so fucking important, especially when you're fighting a very smart fighter. You're fighting a guy that can lead behind his jab for as long as you will allow him to do so, right? You have to have head movement in those cases. A guy that can change depth on you, right? That can turn you. A guy that you'll need to particularly have some upper class boxing ability to be able to even have a chance in the ring with him. Gotta have head movement, or he's gonna systematically break you down. And that's exactly what we saw here, man. If he had any types of head movement, there were so many times where Errol Spence, he's got his hands a little bit lower than his chin, right? Chin is tucked, but his hands are lower than his chin. And the thing about Errol is he becomes so wrapped up in his offense that he pretty much sacrifices his defense. You see what I'm saying? And that's why the straight right hand was pretty much there for him. If he could just slip the jab, Lamont Peterson, if he could just slip the jab, perfect example, and I'll break this fight down next, or it just shit pretty much in the order in which I post these videos. Maybe I've already broken it down, but you got the fight on the undercard with Javier Fortuna and Robert Easter Jr., right? Fortuna was slipping his jab, and then he'd come back up with a straight left, and he could land that punch on Robert Easter, even though he was getting up the height and the reach advantage, right? This is what Lamont Peterson could have been able to do. Of course, it would have been from the orthodox stance, slipping the jab to the left and coming back up with the fucking straight right hand. But he couldn't do it because he has no head movement. So it was just a systematic breakdown. Lamont Peterson had the wrong game plan from the start. Funny thing is, shout out to my man C-Bone Henderson at Four Corners Boxing Talk. And he's 1/3 of the Three Kings, you know what I'm saying, part of the movement. He talked to Barry Hunter before this fight, and Barry Hunter told him that the fucking game plan that you guys saw Lamont Peterson come into the ring in tonight was exactly what the fuck he was going to do. He told my man that. So that kind of told me, honestly, I lost a little bit of respect for Barry Hunter's IQ as a trainer when he actually said before the fight that this fucked up game plan was going to be the game plan that they were going to come into the fight with. It's ridiculous. But I got to give my kudos to Lamont Peterson again, because like I said before, he took a challenge that a lot of motherfuckers at 147 are not really trying to take. And you know who I'm talking about. Miss Thurman, Keithan Gregory Josephine Thurman. Didn't want to take this fucking shot, right? Talking about 2019, when this motherfucker could easily fight 3 fights this year and take Errol Spence late this year, maybe December of 2018. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially if he looks good in a pretty good comeback fight against Jesse Vargas, which I think he will. And then he could take another fight in August, look good in that fight, then he should be ready for an Errol Spence in December. Nothing wrong with that. But he's already talking about 2019, saying this fight is not on his radar. That's why I call him Miss Josephine Thurman. You know what I'm saying? But Errol Spence is a bad motherfucker, man. There's a lot of cats out there saying Errol Spence is all hype. Well, there's quite a few. I wouldn't say a lot. As soon as this fight ended, there's a dumb motherfucker that goes on my posts and likes to talk. One thing I will let you guys know, if you comment on my video consistently, right, and I don't thumbs your shit up, or I don't comment on your comment, I could be disagreeing with you, but if I'm showing you attention, that's cool. But if I absolutely show you zero attention and I don't thumbs your shit up, or if you're on my post in Facebook or Google Plus and I don't pay you no attention and you consistently comment on my shit, there's a reason for that, dog. I don't respect your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And that's what these type of cats are doing. Coming to the post talking about Errol Spence's hype. Your knowledge is null and void, dog. You can say what you want, but if this nigga don't respect your shit, so you're really just wasting your time. Real talk. Errol Spence is that dude. Keith Thurman is the guy at 147 to beat. I respect the fact that Miss Josephine Thurman is the man at 147 because he is the unified champion. But skill, in terms of skill, Errol Spence is that dude. You too, let me know what you think about this fight. Do what you do in the comment section and be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.